cylinder does not turn. It's stuck. Alright guys, so the first thing we do is remove this plastic piece so we can have access to the housing. There's 3 bolts. You'll see holes on the bottom. They're Phillips screws. Just remove those and this just clips off. Alright guys, so this lock cylinder was locked up right here. So I'm going to go ahead and fix it. The key doesn't turn. So the way you do this without taking the housing off, I was able to do this. You go ahead and take off these 3 screws. There's actually 2 right here. 1, 2. There's actually another screw down here. If you can see my finger right there, down here. So you take off that screw, and then this piece comes off. You can remove this these clips here if you like, if they get in the way, but this just comes out forward or out. So once we remove the 3 screws, this comes off. That's when you have this part. On this electronic piece, we have a little cap. We remove the cap, and then we have this exposed. That's when you remove this forward. It just pushes out. So once you remove the 3 screws and you have this down, then you have this little electronic piece. You just pull that out. And then that's when you make a hole here. You make a hole here and there's a little pin right there. And the pin comes out through that little hole because you get a little nail. Then you kind of push it down and then you kind of wiggle this. And the pin should slide down and then it would release the cylinder. This is how we fix this cylinder. So what I did, I got this drill. Then I made a little hole right there. Right there next to the ignition. Usually it should be right there, but that worked. So it should be about right there. That little pin. I had access to that little pin and I was able to drop it down and then release this cylinder. So I know you might not feel comfortable with that, but this was better than spending $300 to $400, so I tried it. It's just the housing anyway, so it didn't hurt anything. So I went ahead and did it, and I was able to release the cylinder. If you could see inside of here, I drilled a little hole right here, and that I was able to basically pull this little pin down, which is right there. It's popping out. So I drilled a little hole in the middle, and then I kind of got a nail, a thin nail, and just pushed it all the way down. And once that little pin came down, the lock was released. So the lock, so once the pin drops, the lock just comes out, because you see that little hole, that's where it attaches to, and that's how it holds it. So we're just going to put it right back on and then push up that little pin right there to lock it back up. If you take a look here, it does not spin. If you go right here, there's a little pin that you remove this lock, and this little barrel should come out. Then you'll see the little metal pins in there. But I'm going to take this to my locksmith to go in and fix this. Alright guys, I went to the locksmith and they went ahead and fixed everything inside. It's the tumblers inside. They got all messed up, so now it turns. See how it didn't turn before, it was locked, now it does turn, and that's with both keys. See that? So that got fixed. He charged me $60. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and put our ignition back. So if you can see here, we got the tumblers fixed. And we got to make sure we put this little spring right back on the end, the inside of here. That's very important, so you got to make sure you put that back. This is the little pin that holds the cylinder. It's right there. So then when we put the cylinder back in, we put it in place, and then as we push it in to where it belongs, we're going to push that little pin. We're going to smack it in so it could hold the cylinder. See, it locked the cylinder in there. So now it doesn't come out once we put that pin inside and we smacked it in with the nail. Here we're good. So once we got the ignition back on, we put the electronic pieces back together. This goes over the keyhole. Then this is the cap. Basically just the way we took it off. Alright, before I lock it up and put it all back together, I like to test it. There it is. Magic.